Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about the Chanel Le Beige 2020 collection and the pieces that I have purchased from that collection. I decided that I would just go ahead and do like a full face of Chanel. I thought that would be a lot of fun, and I just want to mention that I'm like refilming this video. When I did my last haul video, I mentioned how I had all the products on and I had just filmed a video and how that was going to be coming up soon. I just didn't like the footage of that, so I'm just refilming it, which I think is better anyway. So this isn't going to be a first impressions, which that was, because now I've used these products a couple more times, including that video. So you're gonna have a little bit more insight from me. So let me just quickly show you the products that I do have from that collection, because I didn't purchase everything. I have the two highlighting fluids, which I have already talked about in another video. So we're gonna be talking about that more in depth. I also purchased the two Healthy Glow illuminating powders. I have it in Sand and in Sunset. These are the two colors that came out, and very, very beautiful. I can't wait to show you guys that. And lastly, I purchased the Le Beige Healthy Glow eyeshadow palette in Warm. Sorry, I'm trying to arrange the little brushes in here. I have it in Warm. So this is the one that just came out with this collection. So many of you have asked me if I'm going to be getting the like Soleil Tan de Chanel bronzer. They've come out with a new version. It is different. It's a different formulation. It's supposed to be the same color. I didn't pick it up because I have the original tub, and no matter how often I use it, it just looks like I've never used it. That tub is going to last me like 10 years. It's going to go bad before I can even finish it. So I thought, you know what? I don't need any more of it. So I didn't bother picking it up. But let me know down below in the comment section if you really, really want me to get it. If there's enough of you that show interest, I will go ahead and pick it up so I can test it out for you guys. But that's why I didn't pick it up, because I have the original tub and it's going to last me a lifetime. So let's go ahead and start with foundation. And I want to talk about this Sun-Kissed highlighting fluid first. So I tried using this kind of like as a liquid bronzer. I was applying it over my foundation in like contour areas. I just didn't find it effective enough as an actual bronzer. It was very glowy, it was very sheeny. I liked the finish that it gave my skin, but it just didn't do enough bronzing. And so I'd have to go in with a powder bronzer on top, which is totally fine. But I thought, let me see how else I can use this. And so I've been putting this highlighting fluid in foundations that are maybe a little bit too cool or maybe a little bit too light. And I really like the effect. It just adds a little bit. It's like a half of a shade deeper. Anyway, I thought I would go ahead and show you. So I pulled out my Chanel Sublimage foundation because this is basically a decent match for my skin, but you know, just if I want to add a little bit of something to it, I think this is going to work beautifully. So I'm just going to go ahead and scoop a little of this out onto the back of my hand. So about that much of the Sublimage, and then I'm just going to add a pump of this highlighting fluid. And I'm going to go ahead and shake this up, and I'm just going to add a pump, a full pump, and I'm going to try and hold this up. The highlighting fluid has a much lighter consistency than the Sublimage, so it's probably going to run down my hand, but you can see the tonal difference there, and it's definitely going to make my foundation a little bit deeper. I'm just going to mix this up on the back of my hand. Let's make a little concoction here. And I've got my BK Beauty foundation brush. This is the 101 brush. And I'm just going to pick some up off of the back of my hand with the brush and then apply to my skin. So when I use this Sublimage foundation by itself without the highlighting fluid, it has a much more kind of like skin-like finish. It really doesn't have that much radiance to it at all. It just looks very, very natural on the skin. And I think you guys can probably see the radiance that I'm getting with this foundation. And I didn't use any primer. I just had like my normal skincare down. So any radiance you see is that highlighting fluid. And I think you guys could probably tell too that it's not like adding a whole pump of this like did anything major. It didn't like completely change the shade of this foundation. I just think it warmed it up a little bit. You can see that it's a little bit deeper than my neck, and I know this Sublimage foundation is actually a very good match to my neck, but you can see it's just like a little bit deeper. It's a better match for my forehead and the areas of my face that get a little bit more sun. So I really like adding this to foundations that I think maybe could use just a little bit more color, and that's personally how I've been preferring using this highlighting fluid. Of course, you can use it, I think, as like a cream bronzer all over. It just didn't really do enough for me, and I'm just enjoying adding it to foundation more. Okay, the one Chanel product I do not have is concealer, even though I love their concealer. I used it up, I just never replaced it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use the Pat McGrath concealer, which I've actually really been enjoying. You guys saw that video yesterday. So I'm gonna use L6, which is a little bit of a brightening kind of concealer. And just gonna go in just with a few stamps there. And I'm gonna use the Pat McGrath concealer brush because I really liked the combo of this concealer and the brush. All right, so there's the concealer on around my eyes. Someone actually commented in yesterday's video about how this works actually like spot concealing on the face, and I didn't try it that way, so I thought I would try it that way today. So I decided to take out L7. It's a little bit deeper than the L6, and so I think that's a better match for my face. So I'm gonna try this on some of these darker sunspots that I have. And let's see how that works. I'm going to continue using this brush because I really do like how it works it out. I think the L7 maybe is a little bit too light for my actual face. Like you can see it there, but the coverage is mighty fine. I think it does a great job covering up for sure. So far, I'm really happy with it on the face. Let's move on to powder. I know I should probably use the liquid products first. I feel like a while ago, I started putting my liquid products on top of my setting powder, mainly because I kept forgetting to use my liquid and cream products first before putting the setting powder down. But then I realized that I started to prefer it for most of the products. For some products, it moves the powder, it's not great. But I have been using this over my setting powder, and I think it actually, like the powder actually helps the highlighting fluid kind of stay put. And because this is a highlighter, you know, putting the setting powder on top of this would really kind of like dampen the finish. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply my Chanel Natural Finish Loose Powder. I have it in the shade 20. Claire's Translucent 1. And I'm using just a little bit of this powder because it has a matte finish. I do like the finish of this powder. I just feel like if I use too much of it, I don't know, my skin runs into the danger of looking a little bit too dry. I have very, very dry skin. So I'm just using a very small amount of the powder and just kind of making sure I have everything set down. Nothing's like too tacky still. But I think you guys can see the mattifying power of that powder. All right, so I'm really excited to show you guys these Healthy Glow Illuminating Powders. Again, I have Sunset and Sand. I'm gonna go ahead and use Sunset now as a bronzer. So this is Sunset, and I think you guys can actually see because of the lighting here. Can you see the gold reflect in there? In person, you can't really see it. It kind of just looks like a matte bronzer. And so I was a little bit confused about the whole like illuminating powder, but let me just show you guys a swatch because this powder is so beautiful. Here's the powder on my finger. I'm gonna go ahead and just swatch it right here. And looks like a bronzing powder, but do you see that golden shift in there? Oh, it just looks stunning. If you're not really into a bronzer with sheen, you are not gonna like this, but I just love like cheek products with a lot of sheen to them. I feel like matte bronzers are probably a little bit more popular than sheeny bronzers, but oh, I just love it. I absolutely love it. So this is the color in Sunset. I'm gonna use this as bronzer. And you guys can probably tell I'm like the most excited about these two powders, the Sand and the Sunset, the most out of the pieces that I've purchased from this collection. All right, I'm gonna use my Refer P22 brush, and I'm going to stamp some of the powder on first and then work it in. So these powders, by the way, have that Le Beige fragrance, that kind of clean fragrance. So if you're not a fan of that, they are definitely present in these powders. And because this bronzer is definitely on the warmer side, I've been using it as blush too. So I'm just putting it like all over my cheeks here. Do you guys see that like kind of like golden sheen on my skin and on my cheeks? I love it. I think it just looks so pretty. It just looks so like vacation. I'm ready to go away. I'm ready to like hit the beach or something. So that's the sunset colorway of the illuminating powder. We're gonna do some highlighting now. So the sand illuminating powder works beautifully as like a highlighter. So this is what it looks like. It looks like a face powder in the pan. These powders were so surprising to me. They really, really surprised me in a good way. Really, really surprised me. So let me just do a quick swatch, and here it is on my hand. So it just gives you that really light golden shimmer. It's so, so pretty. So I think what I'm gonna do is, since I have this fluid and I do wanna use this and show you guys, I'm gonna put this fluid on one cheek so you can see it alone, and then I'm gonna layer this on top of it, and I'm gonna put this onto a cheek all by itself, just so you can see the powder by itself, the liquid by itself, and then them layered on top. So let me shake this up, and then I'm gonna take my Smashbox cream cheek brush, and I'm just kind of like tapping it into the product, and then I'm just gonna tap it right where I want to highlight. And I'm just tapping it on because I don't want to move any product underneath. So there is the highlighting fluid. And I mentioned this in my favorites, so I'm not going to go on and on, but I just really love the kind of like subtle but like lit from within kind of like soft glow that it gives. So that's the highlighting fluid in Pearly Glow all by itself. And then I'm gonna take my Sonia G Sculpt 2 brush and go into the sand shade and work that onto my skin here. So I find the Pearly Glow to be a little bit cooler, and then the sand shade to be just a touch warmer because it has that like little bit of gold in there. And the Pearly Glow definitely is a little bit more of like a silver, like white champagne kind of sheen. So sand by itself, and then Pearly Glow by itself. And then now what I'm gonna do is actually layer the sand on top of the Pearly Glow if you want like a blingier kind of highlight. And I think the mixture is really, really pretty. So again, I've got some of the sand on here. I'm gonna put it on top of the Pearly Glow. So I feel like the highlight is still very, very soft, but it's just a little bit brighter. And I feel like the gold on top of the silver, like it's really, really nice. I love the combination. So there's the sand by itself, and then the sand on top of the Pearly Glow. So I am just so in love with and impressed with these Healthy Glow illuminating powders, probably because I didn't know what to expect. You know, the pictures made them look like powders or just bronzers. And then the name illuminating powder was like, what do you mean? So I was really happy to see that they both have this beautiful kind of like warm tone to them. I just think it's perfect for this like Le Beige collection. It's just so, so summery. So I'm gonna move on to eyebrows now. I'm going to use the Chanel brow palette that I've been loving. I think I mentioned this in my favorites too, right? Yeah, I've been loving this. So I'm gonna go ahead and just apply some of the wax. I'm just using the spoolie that comes in this palette, which is so handy. And I'm gonna just brush it into my brows. So there is just the wax. I feel like I could use a little bit of powder today. Normally I use the little angled brush that's in here, and that's great if you want to create some like hair-like strokes. But I'm gonna try the little sponge tip applicator because I just feel like, I don't know, I feel a little spotty, and I just want to fill in some of these areas. I don't know if I'm making it worse. I could be. And then run through with the spoolie again. I think that looks okay. It's always a little scary looking until you run that spoolie through. All right, next up is the eyeshadow palette. So they come out with these eyeshadow palettes for the Le Beige collection. I want to say they've done it for like the past 2 or 3 years. At least the first one to my recollection, the one that has like the same layout, was this one. And this they renamed to medium when they released more of these, but this was the one and only one I believe that they had for a while. And this one was just called the Healthy Glow Natural Eyeshadow Palette. So I purchased this, oh my gosh, maybe 3 years ago. I really enjoyed this. I mean, this is not a color story that's going to like set the world on fire, but I think it's a really nice kind of like neutral, cooler toned palette. It's a great everyday palette. I remember traveling with this palette quite a bit. It was just really like rock solid, and I loved this one. And then Chanel more recently, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, they came out with 2 more with this same layout. One was called Light, and then one was called Deep. Not dark, I think it was deep, and it had like a gold in there. I got both of those because I liked this one a lot, and those didn't work for me for some reason. I think the formula was different from this one. The pigmentation didn't like stay on my eyelid, and I'm not used to that with Chanel shadows. So I returned those, and then when they came out with this one, I thought, okay, let me compare ingredients. Let me see if the ingredients in this one are the same as the 2 like light and deep ones. And this one is different. So I thought, let me just take the chance, get this, hope that it's similar or better than this medium one that I have. And when I used this for the first time, I really enjoyed it. I think it's very, very beautiful. I think the shadows are really smooth. I think they go on really nicely, and I had no problem with longevity, which was my main problem with those 2 newer ones. These lasted all day. So I really like the formula of these, but I feel the same way about this color story as I do the medium one. I think it's beautiful. I think it's great for an everyday look. I think it's easy to use. I think you can get a beautiful eye look out of this very easily, but are you gonna set the world on fire with this? No. Definitely not. But I like it. I think it's really beautiful. So let me just go ahead and demo the palette. Oh, actually, before we do that, let me do some swatches. So a lot of these colors are very, very close to my skin tone, but I'm gonna do some strong swatches for you guys. So we've got this top color, and then I go across from left to right, top to bottom. And the quote unquote mattes in this palette, these 2, this top big one, and then this brown, they're still a little something to them. I would say they're demi mattes or just like a very light satin. And then this pinky peachy shade and then this light peach shade, these are both like a beautiful kind of like satin. And then this shade down here has like definite shimmers, a little bit of micro glitter in there. So let me go ahead and demo these shadows for you. I'm going to use my Sonia G Worker 1 brush, and I'm going to go into this pinky peach color, and I'm going to apply this all over the lid. And you can see they just blend out really nicely, and you get this beautiful wash of color. So there's that color all over the lid. I just love it. I love how like bright it looks. I love how pretty it is. I love how springy, summery it looks. It's just a really nice, soft kind of like pinky peach color. I've been doing a lot of like really bright eye looks, so this is like a nice contrast to that. Okay, next up I'm gonna go into the deep brown color, and I've got my Esom W36 brush. I finally washed this. And just gonna add this to the outer corners of my eyes here, just to add a little bit of dimension. All right, you can see how that brown is like pigmented enough. It's not overly pigmented. It's not too soft. It gives me exactly what I need just to add a little bit of dimension. I really, really love it. It blends into this other color beautifully. So I'm going to jump to this shimmery shade over here. I'm going to add this like to my inner corners right here. And then I'm going to tap just a little bit onto the center of my lid. I'm going to use my Sonia G Pencil 1 brush and just place that right there, just for a little something, a little something, something. And then I'm going to take my ring finger and just tap it onto the center of my lid, just to give it a little something. I just cleaned off my Pencil 1 brush. I'm actually going to go back into that deep brown color, and I'm going to run this along my lower lash line. All right, that is it for the eyeshadow palette. You know, like I said, I really, really like this eyeshadow palette. I really like the quality of the shadows. They're very soft and they work really, really easily. I feel like this is a great, you know, beginner-friendly eyeshadow palette. I just don't think you can go wrong. They just blend themselves. And I love the look that I get. I just think it's so pretty and so, you know, springy. All right, I'm just gonna curl my eyelashes. And we're gonna use the Chanel Inimitable mascara And I like this mascara. I don't think there's anything wrong with this mascara, but I also don't find myself reaching for it like all the time. And I don't know what it is. I mean, I think it does a nice job like lengthening my lashes. It's definitely a formula that I think is a little bit on the drier side, which I also enjoy. I feel like this mascara really ticks off all the boxes for me, but for some reason, I don't know what it is. I'm not like, yes, like I don't get really excited about this particular mascara. I don't know, maybe it just has to grow on me. And I didn't purchase any lip products from this Le Beige release. I think they released some limited edition, I could be wrong, some limited edition Rouge Coco flashes. I didn't get any of those because I think they're coming out with new colors. They may have already, I'm not really sure. They have so many colors for the Rouge Coco flash that I'm completely lost. Like I don't know what was part of the original release, what has come out and is limited edition. I don't even know anymore. So I didn't get any of those. Oh, and then I think there was like a tinted balm and I was like, I'll pass on that. So I just dug around in my collection and picked out 2 glosses and I can't decide which one to use. I think this would be more fun. This is color 748. There's not 1 in there. And then this one is 166. So 166 has some like golden shimmers in there. All right, let me try the 166, the one with the golden shimmers. You guys know I'm a sucker for golden shimmers. I really like this lip gloss. I'm not sure that I ever used this one before. I think this was new. How is that even possible? All right, so before I let you guys go, just a quick summary of the 5 pieces that I have from the Le Beige 2020 collection. You guys know my thoughts on this. This has appeared in my favorites. I love it. This highlighting fluid in Sunkissed, which I know is like a kind of packaged and re-promoted version of their liquid Soleil Tan de Chanel, but I don't know. That one I never purchased myself, but I know I've tried that one and I feel like that one is a little bit warmer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is supposed to be the same as that. Anyway, I do feel like if this was a little bit warmer, I could kind of use it as a liquid bronzer, but because, I don't know, I just feel like it's a little bit cooler. It does warm up for me, but because this is a little bit cooler, I do feel like this is better mixed in with foundation. These 2 Healthy Glow illuminating powders, I think are the winner of this collection. They are just so stunning. I love the sheen in both of these products. I love the powder. They're like soft and they blend really beautifully into the skin and then they kind of like meld. Oh, that's what this reminds me of. So this reminds me, the formula kind of reminds me of the Tom Ford Soleil Glow Bronzer and you guys know how much I love that. The Terra that I use all the time, it's cooler. It doesn't have a golden sheen. This is like a warmer golden sheen version of that. I like this better than the gold dust. I don't know, the tone of it, oh, it's so pretty, but it has that kind of like soft powder formula that, you know, you lay it down on the skin and then like after a few minutes, I feel like it looks better. Like the heat of your skin actually helps it like meld. Oh, this is really good. And then all the same things for this sand color as a highlight. This over the Pearly Glow, this by itself, I mean, it's so pretty. And then finally, the eyeshadow palette. I just gave you all of my thoughts on this. I really enjoy it. This is the 3rd time I'm using it now. I love how easy it is. I love the looks that I get. I just think they're really pretty and just perfect for this season. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have any questions down below in the comment section. Oh, and don't forget, let me know down below in the comment section if you want me to try the new Soleil Tan de Chanel. It's a different formula. I like the original one. I have it. That's why I didn't get it. I have like a giant tub of it. So anyway, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.